Summertime. It's a great time. It's a time full of superheroes, of sunny days, giving monkeys showers, and for those of us who live in more sparsely populated areas of the country, it means that it's almost time for the county fair. County fairs are great. It's tons of games, tons of fun, tons of fried food, more fried food than you can imagine, things you didn't even think they could fry. It's a fun time for all, and that includes the greatest superhero of all time. Superman number 7, published in 2016 by Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, and art by Jorge Jimenez, is probably my favorite single issue of Superman. So, could it be yours? Well, let's hop in and let's find out. Superman has had a pretty busy night and pretty busy day, going about his rounds, doing his regular superhero stuff, assisting the rest of the Justice League when possible, and he decides, you know what? I think now is a good time for me to take my family off to the county fair. Lois is pretty skeptical because part of being Superman and also being related to Superman is that there really aren't any days off. You're a superhero and that's what you get to do. Now we're off to the county fair. The first person we meet is Kathy. She is the Kent's next door neighbor, and she's there to help her grandpa out at the Blue Ribbon contest, and also to be extremely adorable with John Kent. Okay, tangent time. So part of the problem of reviewing older comics that have already been released for a while is that you kind of have an idea of what's going to happen to these characters later. And in the case of Kathy, she kind of becomes really important and then takes a back seat. Now, I know at this point in the story, both she and John are just 10 years old, but they are so cute together. And it's like, this is probably one of my bigger ships in comic books right now. But Kathy's been missing for a while, and that makes me really sad. It makes me a little bit agitated. So, Brian Michael Bendis, I doubt you're watching this, but if you happen to be watching this at any point, you're doing a great job with Superman and with Action Comics, and I love it, but I kind of need Kathy to come back. If you can make that happen, that'd be great. So, Kathy, please, Bendis. Tangent over. So we cut into some shady characters, and they're planning a robbery of the ticket booth since the ticket booth really isn't that well guarded. And also because the county fair is cash admittance only, so it's really easy to split, really easy to get away with. Back at the Kents, they've opted to kind of use the opportunity of the county fair to try and get in touch back with their community. They speak with John's teacher for a little bit. They speak with the editor of the local newspaper for a little bit, seeing if they can get some jobs there. And along the way, Clark also bumps into the criminals I just mentioned. A small bit of X-ray vision later, and Superman has figured out what is about to happen. And now he's in a predicament. How is he going to stop this robbery and also hide it from Lois and John, because he promised that he's going to shelve the superhero thing for the evening. But before Clark can really do much thinking about this particular issue, it's time for the Blue Ribbon contest, and it's time to go support their neighbor and Kathy, who should be in the comics more with John Bendis. Kathy's grandpa just won the Blue Ribbon with his prize cow. The Kents invite him over for dinner. He accepts. They all share a cup of prize-winning milk. John and Kathy can continue to be adorable. And in the distance, we see those same robbers from earlier. And Clark does something amazing. He fakes lactose intolerance so that he can break away from the group and chase after the bad guys. He promises Lois and John that he can meet up with them in a couple of minutes at the roller coaster. So a couple minutes later, the three of them are at the roller coaster. Lois claims that Superman was off doing Superman stuff, and he's just about to deny it, except that the PA system for the roller coaster was still on. And they talk about how the ticket booth was just about to be robbed, but they found the guys, they were tied up, all of their weapons were melted, and And then we lead up to one of the funnier splash panels I can think of. So let's talk about the story and what it really is offering and what is really happening here. So anyone who's read Rebirth Superman knows that Rebirth Superman, and particularly the early half of it, is really fast-paced. It's really big. Lots of things are happening. And so this issue here isn't just a vacation for the Kens to go to the county fair. It's also kind of a vacation for the reader. Hey, you've had to deal with a lot of heavy stuff up to this point. Let's take a quick break. The story is really simple. You don't have to think too hard about it. But if you go back and revisit it later, you'll notice that there are a couple of things that are hinted at, and it actually adds a lot to the story as a whole. But at its core, it's lighthearted, it's silly, and I just absolutely love this story. As far as the art goes, I have to say that the background art adds a lot to the atmosphere of this carnival, county fair kind of environment, as well as just the facial expressions on these characters add so much character and so much emotion to the page, especially in the build-up to the splash panel at the end when they're on the roller coaster. Funniest, best facial expressions I've seen in a Superman comic. It's just hilarious. So while this book doesn't really take any big risks, it is really charming. It's really safe for pretty much anyone to read, and you're going to have a fun time with it. It's a great issue. But it does hold some really interesting and subtle commentary on these characters and what is most important to them in the order of importance, which I found really fascinating. So we have Lois, and her first priority is making sure that John is growing up right, that he's treating people with respect, he's going to grow up and become a good Superman. And then her concern is making sure that she's involved with the community and working in a newspaper in some capacity. Then we have Clark, whose main priority is first John, and then Lois, and then crime fighting. It happens in that order. Then we have John, whose first priority is his family and his connection to his parents, then his friends like Kathy, Bendis, get on it, please. And then the roller coaster, which in a sense kind of symbolizes the high-octane action adventure of being a superhero and kind of his goals in that respect. So, there you go. If you liked Superman number 7, then I would recommend you check out these books. So, we've got pretty much all of Superman Rebirth. If you like this story, you're going to like Rebirth a lot. It's just fun. There's also Lois and Clark. It was a prequel story to Rebirth and also gave an origin story for John and how he discovered his powers for the first time. Great story. And if you like this kind of laid-back, feel-good environment, there are some good parts of Action Comics 1000 that I think really emphasize that as well. That is my thinking on Superman number 7. I want to know what you thought. Did you like this story? What is your favorite carnival ride? And also, if you were part of a tribal community, what would your role be? That's a fun question to think about. Go ahead and leave your thoughts down in the comments below. And until next time, thank you for joining me. Have a great day. And remember to always be your best self.